Thank you very much. It was very good. It is strikingly feels like coming from nowhere when you play it all by itself. It's for me. It's really it means something because I know what came before. Definitely, it's not something that is meant to be played like that, just the number 3, because this entrance is the rupture with everything that came before, and it's very striking. But it's the purpose of this really depends on the other 2 coming before. That's my opinion. Yeah, I recommend that you have in mind that this is counterpoint, and I felt like I missed this counterpoint very well delineated. I know that it's extremely hard these 2 first systems, and but I think that they sound more defined if you do what Professor Bruckner suggested, like separate the 3 voices, learn them separated, because they are 3 voices, and he even wrote it in 3 pentagrams. And we are not listening to the counterpoint. And you did right. I mean, you know exactly what you were doing, and your left hand is perfect. That's the main line. Yeah, but we need to hear the counterpoint, and you have like 3 more voices there, right? I also think that die etwas langsamer. That's the number 5, measure number 5, right? You finished your first statement, right? And then you have your etwas langsamer, right? Do it more fortissimo, because it has to to wake us up. You were finishing, like you did your fortissimo, pa pam 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 pa, and then the D sharp A, and then you have one single silence, right? An 8-note silence, and then you have to do that fortissimo again, and it has to sound like something that you were not expecting, because he was like fading away, and you expect, oh, now he's going to finish, and then you come out again with 3 Fs, right? So I missed it, because what we were talking is that the continuity of the piece is based on all these different motives that, like, we're changing your mind. I'm thinking about different things all the same time, and so make it really different one from the other. And one of the resources he used, apart from the registers, and is the dynamics. So I particularly think we have to exaggerate the dynamics and the tempos. Like if he says that was langsamer, it's a little bit slower, do it really a little bit slower, so that we can profit from the 3 Fs. And you cannot do 3 Fs if you don't do it etwas langsamer, because they are all 3 Fs. Dun, 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 right? Then your piano and feel harsher will sound much more harsher and much more pianissimo, in contrast with what came before. Then in measure number 7, you have the sehr lang. Just stay there in that fermata. But Schönberg liked the reminiscences, and so he put the A there. That A is the continuity of the G natural, the G natural that you have in the bottom of the chord in your right hand. After the chord with. Where you have sehr lang. No. Yes, yeah. Making your, you have making your ear this connection. So somehow this G should sound a little bit out, we'll bring out a little bit this G so that we can make the connection with the A and the B flat, because that's what he meant. He wants us, after that fermata, that's our link with what comes after. And then I'm going to give the microphone to my colleagues, otherwise I will be talking all by myself.
I thought it's very, very good. Technically, I don't play the piece. I don't have any specific advice to give you about that. But could I see the score just for one second? Thanks so much. Yeah. Oh, it's okay. That's right. So am I. That's okay. I find that one bit of advice I routinely give to students playing this set of pieces is to not to think of it as in a certain sense, not to think of it as unusual, but to remember that it is extremely expressive and very dramatic kind of music. So, for example, if you you have the score in front of you, yeah, okay. Go to the very last page. If you go to the page 14, if you just play could you play for us again the last 4 bars of the piece from the Mäßige to the finale? Oh, I see. Well, just the last four bars of the piece. Yeah. Yeah. So one of the oldest tricks in piano playing is adding a little touch of time, just a little lima bean of time, just before you play the last note of something. Now, this is as true in Schönberg as it is in Chopin. If you play the last dum bum b, if you place the note so so it's not so rhythmic. It doesn't have to be rhythmically precise. Take a little time before you play the last B. Play the same thing again. The last 4 bars. Now wait. Once again, play the last gesture again. Just play the dum bum bum once again. Now wait. Okay, that was waiting a little too long and so forth. Here. Think about it, in very dramatic terms. As if it were this without the other. So that they're angry about something, right? Now the touch has to be. That's just one example of thinking of the music a little bit more theatrical, almost cinematically, forget things about, okay, these notes are generated through this tone row, and, this has to be, if it were a Lisztian kind of rhapsody, how would you do this? Here, that's very nice. Yeah, it's very dramatic. We end that sort of thing. So, I feel like all throughout the piece, this is one example. But throughout the piece, there are things like that to think of more, rhetorically. I suppose that's the good word. Rhetorically, that's a university word.
Since we are talking, the F is going to the A is going to the B flat. So the B flat is beat. the A flat is not beat, so you have the A natural. So you cannot play the A natural stronger than the B flat, because you're going to the B flat. Although you're looking at the two Fs there, you will go into the B flat. It's da-da-da, not da-da-da. Yeah.
Well, not particularly, because rhetoric certainly just evokes me that this rhetorics can really apply in even this type of music. It's Baroque rhetorics. Once we had a seminar, we had an Italian composer, we had Stockhausen, however, but he applied rhetorics very successfully, so that maybe all these theories, they are valid also in this type of music. Otherwise, sounded very, very nice and very, very good. So I not studied the piece particularly, so that I can't say more. But thank you very much indeed.
I would just like to make a small comment about this counterpoint issue that was pointed out by Professor Schweck. What I find very interesting in this piece is that the counterpoint is never simple and is never the same. You have 3 lines, and yes, as Dr. Schweck pointed out, you see 3 steps and you think, well, 3 lines, fine. But no, then the second becomes the third, and the first becomes the second, and then one of them becomes a line in chords. And so it's not a simple counterpoint in lines. It's something that's much more developed than that, and it has many more possibilities. So I would say that it's not easy to make that counterpoint heard if we don't go back to that gesture and emotion idea. So, you know, if each time you have one of those gestures, you focus on its content, on the beginning, on the ending, on what you want to say with it. I think that's the way to get things more explicit and more easily heard.
Thank you. I'm going to delve into a field that's not exactly mine. What would really excite me now, after being excited by the piece, and what would really excite me would be an improvisational response to this. Yours, and that's for a few different reasons. First of all, I think that once you go through a process like that of taking either little excerpts of the piece and focusing and abstracting and extending and just making those moments your own, or looking at the piece in a long term, on a long, what do I want to say? Grand scale. The way we were speaking about, and Dr. Schweck was talking about the various ways of analyzing that piece, and just experimenting with the way you would say that. Or you could look at the goal points of a phrase, and from the starting point to the end point say, okay, I'm not going to go there the same way he goes, I'm going another way, but I'm going to start and end at the same place. After you go through a process like that, I think, A, you'll come out with works that are wonderful and different and yours, and B, the piece will be more yours. And I think that's an interesting experience. Now that you own the technique, which makes me very jealous, to be able to do that piece, to be able to really own the piece now, I would put you through those paces.
One last remark is that when Dr. Bruckner played, I realized that what makes it more dramatic is exactly keeping that 8th note, keeping the pause, being aware of. You don't need to delay. You don't need to do rubatos as you did in the beginning of the section C. Just because, beginning of section where is there is just because it's written espressivo in measure number 14, for instance, no? or in beginning of the section C, because you have do ta di di da da. Yeah, just keep keep the pose. You don't need to do rubatos or because this is what is dramatic of this piece. You have already those tons of changing of scenarios and tempos and dynamics. So if you keep the pose, this will keep the the drama. And when she played, I just realized that she was telling you to wait 1 comma before you give the B, but that comma will make all the sense if the pose is there all the time. If the pose is not steady, then the comma will be lost completely. So it's very interesting to listen to this from here, because you are the one that's suffering. But it's very good, because then you realize the importance of that little 8 note that he put in the beginning of the piece. Just this is the thing that is going to keep you steady over all those changes.
Yes, I still had one more theoretical or aesthetical comment. Celia, you spoke in a lecture about this. Theodor Adorno. Adorno wrote his Philosophie der neuen Musik, Philosophy of New Music, which I think you have read this book, because there Adorno spoke just of Schönberg as the only progressive line in the contemporary music. And Celia spoke about a spaceless, feeling of spaceless, without any space. Normally, any musical piece has space, time, and maybe some kind of actors. But here is space is, so to say, disengaged, in French, débrayage by Greimas. And so this might open some avenue for your playing as well, if you think of what Adorno said about this type of music. And another thing is about how to find your own way to. I was just working. John Cage had a piece, as it changes, which consists of very short, abrupt musical elements. But you have to modalize every moment different manner. Modalize means that you provide with your own feelings, emotions, will, know, can, every musical event differently, and make it own in that way. So.